Hey, how's it going, you guys? Dr. Dave here. I would like to talk about how, in my opinion, all trader problems boil down to fear and adrenaline. When you strip away the complexity of charts and strategies and market analysis, most trader problems come down to fear and adrenaline. And of course, fear is a function of adrenaline. Fear of losing money, fear of missing out, fear of being wrong, fear of making a mistake, all of that kicks off your body's fight or flight response and it takes the logical brain offline. It's trying to protect you, but it's failing. Greed and overconfidence are just fear in disguise. The fear of not making enough fast enough fuels adrenaline, which leads to taking bigger risks that feel justified in the moment. And after some wins, adrenaline makes you feel untouchable until losses pile up and show you how skewed your judgment really was. Fear and hesitation are just as destructive. Adrenaline locks up your decision making. You wait for the perfect setup and then you enter late just in time to watch the market reverse. Revenge trading is what happens when your logic is completely gone and you don't even really know it often. Adrenaline tells you that this is the only way to get back on track, even though it usually leads to bigger losses. And FOMO is all about adrenaline as well. Watching other people make money triggers a primal urgency to jump in without a plan. Social media makes it worse, feeding a fear that you're falling behind. Emotional control goes out the window when adrenaline takes over. Whether it's a big win or a brutal loss, if you're not emotionally grounded, you're going to abandon your plan. And the scariest part is, it all feels rational at the time. The logical brain is offline, but you don't know it. Difficulty establishing a routine is another hidden cost. Without structure, you burn more mental energy, you react impulsively, and you drift into bad habits. And if you've been burned in the past, healing from past losses becomes a silent anchor. You may not even realize how much fear from old trades is driving hesitation or sabotage today. These patterns are hard to break, and they're costing traders tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars without them even realizing it. So, why does trading on adrenaline lead to failure? Because you don't even know your logical brain has been hijacked until it's too late. That's why so many traders look back and say, "What was I thinking?" And why does advice about the ideal mindset fall short? Because it only talks to the logical brain. Be disciplined, stay calm, don't chase. Well, that's great advice for the robot, but it does nothing to reach the cat. And that's the emotional part of your brain that's actually in charge. I hate when experts give insight and pretend that's enough to change behavior. Trying to use logic to solve an emotional problem is like trying to mop up a spill with a blueprint. It looks smart, but it doesn't absorb anything. That's why knowing isn't enough. I'll never forget when a therapist told me, well, the past is in the past, so it doesn't make sense for you to still be affected by it. And I was like, yeah, no shit. What am I still doing here on your couch then? And that summed up everything wrong with traditional approaches. Clients agree logically, but still they can't change their emotions. I worked with a couple once. He had cheated and she wanted to forgive him, and she believed that she should feel safe again. But no matter how much she wanted to, she just couldn't. And eventually they got divorced. And that was a turning point for me. Logic alone can't undo emotional wiring. And of course, it's the same for trading. You can know losses are normal and you can tell yourself to stay calm, and then you still panic and you still chase and you still blow up your plan. That's not weakness. That's subconscious conditioning taking over. And let me just say, I can't stand how people underestimate the power of the subconscious. It's like we forgot that Freud even existed. People act like if you can't just change your mindset on command, well, you must be choosing to stay broken. I lived that lie. I had trauma and depression and anxiety, and when I couldn't force myself to feel better, I blamed myself. And that belief that I must want to be messed up was so crushing. And in trading, we see this too. A trader knows they should accept a loss and move on, but underneath that logic is fear. Fear of failure, fear of going broke, fear of not being enough. So then they spiral. They overtrade, they chase, or they freeze up entirely. And telling somebody to relax in that moment is like telling a drunk person to be sober. At least the drunk guy knows it's not going to work, but the trader still wastes time and hope trying to stay calm through sheer willpower. The whole problem comes down to searching where it's easy. It's like that story where the guy's looking for his wallet under a streetlight, even though he dropped it in the dark. And he says he's searching there because, well, that's where the light is. We do the same thing with mindset. We stay in the logical brain because that's what we understand. But the root of our problems isn't there. We've been trying to solve subconscious problems with conscious tools, and then we wonder why nothing sticks. Traders build great plans, they study hard, they analyze data, and then when the pressure hits, it's not the plan that's in charge. It's whatever's been buried in the dark. And that's where the fear lives. That's where the reaction comes from. And that's where these YouTube videos are different. This is a new way forward. This is not theory, it's not motivation, but something that actually works with the part of the brain that makes decisions in real time. Eye movements give you a way to speak to the subconscious directly on its own terms. It's not just about learning what the ideal mindset should be. It's about installing it into your operating system. So when the market spikes or whipsaws or turns on you, you don't have to think about being calm. You just are because you trained for it. These YouTube videos help you work with the cat part of your brain, not just the logical robot. And that's how real lasting change happens, not just in trading, but in life.